I moved into this house that I'm living in now about 4 years ago, and there is a sofa that I sit on when I want quiet time to read. And every time I sat on that sofa, I felt like someone was in the room with me. As time went by, I then started feeling like someone was on the sofa with me, but I brushed it off. A friend of mine came to visit. She sat on the sofa and she was like, "I feel like there's somebody in your house." And I smiled and I said, "Yeah." Sometimes when I'm just talking or watching TV or just lying in bed, then I would get this funny feeling like someone's touching my hair. After a long time of this happening, I kind of got used to it. But then that brings me to 2 months ago. I had an exam. I hadn't read any of the literature for about 2 years, and that's because like my mom died and I got ill. But when the school informed me that my exam was going to happen in a couple of days, I didn't have any time to prepare for it because I also had other exams. So I literally had only that night before the exams to make any sort of preparation. And while I was sitting at the computer going through tons of literature, there's certain documents where I kept feeling this hand go through my hair. It got stronger every time I went back to that document. So I would look at other documents and then I would come back and then I would feel it again. Now I was convinced that I'm going to fail. I was just going to go there, do the exams because I'm South African. I've never taken an education in Denmark before, so I needed to see what exactly was going to happen. And I have 2 more tries to pass the exam. But when this started happening, this sensation of fingers in my hair or someone just like doing this, then I thought this is an opportunity to find out if whoever is here is either here to help me or hurt me. I closed down all the other tabs with all the other documents and I read these 3 documents only. It took me about 2 hours and then I went to bed. I put my head underneath my duvet covers and I just cried because I was so stressed. The next morning I got up and I went for the exam, and then at the school I felt again this feeling and I was like, okay, they're letting me know that they're there. The teacher walks in and then I pray and I say, please, I need favor right now because even though I am gonna fail, I just would like to make this as easy as possible on myself. So how the test starts is that the teacher and the external moderator comes in and they put 4 cards face down on the table, and you don't know what the topics are. You have no clue what it's going to be about. So you got to choose a topic and then you have about 15 minutes to prepare. I was first to choose and I decided to take the one that was closest to me. But just before I did, I said, no, that's too obvious. Let me try and choose another card. But the other 3 cards, I couldn't decide what I wanted. But the first card was almost screaming at me to pick it up. So I decided, it's an experiment. Let's see what happens. So I picked it up and it was actually a really easy topic. The other 3 topics were much more difficult. I was glad for that, but the test is not about how much you know about the topic, but more about your theories of why you would do what you do. So as I was preparing in that first 15 minutes, the teachers come over and then they ask me some questions, and then they told me that I can just answer in English. I have never in the 4 years had any teacher at any exam ask me to explain it in English. So I got the favor. That made a huge difference for me to be able to express myself. Every time they showed up to ask me questions, I based every answer from those 3 documents because that's all I knew. About an hour before the entire exam period was over, the teachers came to me, asked me a question, and then after I answered again from those 3 documents, they looked at me and said, we don't want to hear any more from you. You can leave. After the exams, I got to speak with the other students and they were so smart. There was this one particular girl who she was there for the 4th time to take this exam. So I was terrified. After a little while, the teachers called us in individually to give us our grades. And I told myself that I wasn't going to cry. I'm just going to be brave. When I walked in, the teachers expressed to me that they were so impressed with the way I answered that for my oral part of the exam alone, they gave me the highest grade I could possibly get on the Danish grading system. And the first thing I did was just look up and just say thank you, because I could not see that coming. And when I left the room, my husband called me straight away. So then I told him the truth, that I only read the documents that I felt someone was telling me to read. So now I know for sure they're here to help. Here's the thing that also bugs me a bit. Is it cheating if there's someone standing next to you giving you answers but nobody can see them? And if the world acknowledges that this is a possibility, how would you stop people from cheating in this manner? So let me know, what do you think? Who do you think it is? How would you answer those questions that I just asked? And what would you have done if you were in my situation?